YouTube, it's Maddie the Empty Nest Scrapper. I'm so glad you stopped by. If you're returning, I'm glad you came back. And if it's your very first time, I hope you enjoyed this video. Today I intend to do a swatch with me video. These are some products that I received for the holiday. And in preparation for 2021, I want to get myself completely inventoried and hopefully as organized as I can in preparation for my 2021 plan, which is intentional spending. I have a video series that has started a little bit in preparation. I will link it down below if you're interested, and we'll continue in 2021 regarding stash building, buying freeze or spending freeze, and in my case, something in between, which I call intentional spending. And in order to work on my goal, I have to inventory everything I have. I want to know what I have in order to figure out what I want to buy. And if that makes sense to you, maybe you'll look around your craft room and make sure that you have a great idea of the things that you already have and the things you would like to add to your crafty stash. So with that in mind, I'm going to try to complete a quick little swatch with me. I create swatches and put them in an inventory binder, and that is the way that I figure out what I have, what I need, and how I want to use my money. So these are some beautiful pigment powders brought by Ken Oliver. The colors are Peony, Marigold, Sap Green, Naples Yellow, Wisteria, and Prussian Blue. So although the colors seem to be represented on the bottles, as we all know, not every bottle is a good representative. So I'm going to put a couple of the things that I'm going to complete the inventory with aside so they don't get wet, because this is a medium that you do need to use water with. So I'm going to put this in the center so you can get a good look of how I do this. And it's a pretty simple task. You just put down a little bit of pigment. That's probably more than I need. For my purposes today, when I use these pigments, I tend to use a spray bottle. It's a lot more fun. But here I'm just going to use a paintbrush and move the pigment around to try to give myself a nice representation of what the color is after you take that powder out of the bottle. For this, it tends to be a little powdery, and I do want to tap it off and make sure that I don't mix the colors. This is pretty deep. I probably would have wanted to use less. And what I will do in order to fix that for myself is the old watercolor trick, which is blot it off and see if I can get a less intense color. So you see, things don't come out perfect necessarily when you are doing things for the first time. In the next one, I will use less pigment. Off to the side, I just have a little water container that now is completely blue because I used so much pigment. So I'll peek that in for a sec. There it is. And I'm going to move on to the next color using way less pigment. So hopefully that will dry back a bit and not be so intense. But we're going to wait and see. So this next color, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of pigment. Oh, and see how that works out. Even that looks like a little too much. We will see. This one is wisteria. If need be, I will blot it back again. But there's only one way to find out. I'm trying to get some water without too much blue in it and see how it goes. Again, quite a bit of pigment. I'm going to knock some of that off. This is very pigmented. And it's a good thing to remember for when I am using it on a project. So here I am able to lighten it somewhat with the water. I may not necessarily blot this one. It looks like it will dry back to a reasonable color. And then I'm going to move on. I am just wiping my brush. This is a nondescript brush on a trusty paper towel. And then we will move on. Next, let's see if I can get even less pigment. I'll knock it off if I have to. This color is Naples Yellow. So let's see if that is enough pigment for Naples Yellow. And it looks just fine. So with this medium, I have to remind myself a teeny tiny bit is going to get me the color. Even going to try to take a little bit more back from this blue. It is super intense. Super intense. But very, very pretty. So that's the brightest side. Next up, we have some peony. Let's see. Oh, peony. I don't know if I'm saying that right at all. So we're trying to just have a light hand with it and see if we do better. We being me. And that looks like a much better amount to use for my little swatches that I'm going to use in my inventory book. So the teeniest bit that you can get out of these bottles seem to be what is in order. I don't know if I'm going to have enough space here. Let's see if I can make a smaller swatch right here and squeeze them both in. Teeniest bit, little bit of water. Let's see what we can do. I don't really need the swatches to be very large, so these guys can be tiny and still probably work through the punch that I've chosen for my swatches, and all will be well. Obviously, I didn't plan ahead and space out properly because I would have had plenty of room. Just putting a little more pigment in there. And looks like a lovely light green. Last one is marigold, and looks like we will be able to squeeze a little marigold right here. Let's see if that's enough color. Only one way to find out, and there's some marigold. Again, I'll probably add a touch more, get a little bit more. Just like when I'm crafting, it's trial and error. Mostly error when you're talking about me, but still fun. Still always, always fun. And that's the whole point for me. So I hope you have enjoyed this portion. I am pretty happy with how that is coming out. The lighter ones are almost dry already. This blue is almost dry now that we helped it along. So what I would like to do is just do a quick hit with my heat gun. I hope it is not too annoying for you. Look at those beautiful colors. So let's see if I can grab myself some swatches. If the paper is dry enough, let's do the finger test. We're good. All right, here we go. Let's see. Nothing to it. You just take a punch that you want the size of your swatch to be and punch right on through until you've got all your swatches prepared. Much happier with the blue color I ended up with. And so trial and error can be your best friend. Okay, we can put this aside. All done here. And I'm going to take my trusty Xyron and just slide my pieces through to make them into stickers that will work in my catalog. I find this the quickest and easiest way to attach my swatches, and I tried it once and never looked back at another idea. Even if they overlap somewhat, I pretty much make it work. Here are my swatches, and they are pretty much ready for my swatch book. Here's the swatch book I use for my pigment powders, and I already have a page for them, so it really will not take too long at all. How about you look at it right side up? Wouldn't that be lovely? Okay, so for the pigment powders, I already have some Ken Oliver, and we'll find the page. Here they go. So I'm going to find the page where they belong and attach them in the appropriate places. So, pulling this back, they will become a sticker and then be properly represented in my inventory binder. So I just find the proper place for them. This one is peony. Excuse me. This one is marigold. This one is sap green, Naples yellow, wisteria, and Prussian blue. Easy peasy. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye-bye, YouTube.